Generation, a good marriage was a marriage that lasted for umpteen years. For our generation is like, am I happy? Am I fulfilled in the whole nine? How is that affecting the process of mating and the process of settling or settling down?
Because the thing about being happy and fulfilled is not the responsibility of the other person. It's your responsibility. The only thing that other person's supposed to do is add to what you've already have been creating for yourself. And you're supposed to be able to coexist together where they're an individual, you're an individual, and you guys are working and you're choosing to be together.
I think what's tough about that is like when we hear stories about like our parents and our grandparents, that wasn't their paradigm. They needed each other. There was no, I'm coming in as an individual. Grandma was 14, grandpa was 15. They ain't have shit. They built everything by themselves, but that's not going to work in 2023.
My parents that have been married now for 44 years, and they're older. They're in their 70s. So this is an older generation baby boomer relationship where we like that's a whole different ball game right there, you know, where you stick it out with your partner and y'all make it work. But today is like, do I want to make that work with this person?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to wake this shit the fuck up, man. I know it's late, but I'm definitely gonna have to wake this up. You know, are women is marriage most women's purpose in 2024? I say no, no, and no. And this is the reason why I have come to that conclusion. And mind you, I've taken the opportunity and liberty to hear everybody out. I've also have had these conversations in the background and have listened to women in a lot of these different types of videos, right? And one of the things that I've come to realize is that we've civilized the world and we've civilized this country to the point that most women, they don't want a boyfriend, they don't want a husband because they have 911. They have the police on their at the fingertips. They have fire on their fingertips. They have care on their fingertips, right? There are so many conveniences that we have created and civilized in this country that most people walk around like they don't need nobody because they have everything at the touch of their fingers and on an app. Let's just be very honest. The instant gratification generation has gone 10x. Crypto couldn't even keep up with this delusion that we have today. Let's be very honest. And sort of what has been created is this identity idea of freedom. Women today have too much freedom. Women today have too much opportunity and choice, and sort of they're not electing to want marriage or long-term fruitful. They're chasing what purpose is, which I at times don't understand what that looks like in terms of how they qualify. Because if purpose is something that is only self-gratifying, right, then that's really not purpose. Because I can tell you that a lot of men out here who are in purpose are are giving benefit to society. Just think about all the things that are being built today. Everything from medicine, everything from infrastructure, everything from overall protection. Shoot, we might be on the verge of World War III. I promise you, we're not shipping all our women out to the front lines. So let's be very honest about that. So again, I think we've just civilized the world to a very comfortable pace that people really navigate in a certain type of arrogance that they don't really need people. And sort of what I think, and I have come to the conclusion that most women today, they don't want a husband. What they want is a submissive provider. Women today want a submissive provider. What does that mean and what does that look like? I want the dude to pay the bills. I want the guy to show up in a particular type of way, to give me attention, to do all these things that our relationship like, but allow me to dress however I want, to move however I want, to talk to whoever I want, and not adhere to certain boundaries within a relationship contacts, and at times put myself in compromising situations that might be detriment to the relationship. We spent a whole segment at the beginning of the program talking about relationship dynamics and people being honest and how people are just comfortable with being the mistress and moving in a particular type of way. People have given people have given up on those ideals because they find convenience in the idea of fluidity, not being able to attach themselves to something because unfortunately how they see themselves, they don't see themselves as serious. So that's why I've come to the conclusion that most women don't want a provider. They want submissive providers. They want dudes who have no backbone that allow them to do whatever they want and they can navigate any way they want. Clout Jones gave a great example earlier when he gave the two examples. He's like, would a woman pick a man who um would either who has a chick on the side and let her know, or be open to the idea of her having another guy? She would never respect that man that will allow her to move outside having another guy. But unfortunately, that's the frame in which a lot of these dynamics tend to open up in, right? And sort of that's why I said a lot of women don't seek marriage because a lot of them want a submissive provider. They're going to, work on their business. They're going to go to school, and I think that's wonderful, and I think it's great. It moves the country forward. But in terms of this relationship dynamic, it's always going to be a bit of a hodgepodge because the reality is that nobody is aligned with any sort of central ideals that are aligned back to more traditional relationship dynamics. So hey,
We don't no woman want no simp. Don't no woman want no submissive man. What you talking about?
a submissive provider. That's what I said. Maybe you
You
don't.
want us a provider, but
Maybe
don't
you
no woman
don't.
want no submissive
Maybe you
man.
don't. Maybe you don't. And I can respect that. But let's be very honest. When a certain dude comes into the picture who operates and presents himself in a certain type of way, who's not tolerating all that other, hot girl summer bullshit, right? And he's like, look, like these are the things that I look for and I require, and this is how you have to move or whatever. He's putting a boundary. A lot of women have pushback and have issues. You know what I'm saying? If you look closely at a lot of these videos that JR uses at times, like the example that we just finished using, there was a segment of one of those videos where he didn't even get to finish what he was saying, and they were quick to answer and cut him off or whatever, not even giving him an opportunity to fully express himself and say what he has to say. It's because they were already jumping and attacking what he has to do. And you sent it, and that's just in a conversation dynamic. You look at that in a relationship context, right? Where you set certain boundaries, and a lot of individuals have pushback. They want you to lower your guard at times. And mind you, this is not everybody, but for those who want that in the gray kind of relationship, right? But they want their man to provide everything else. That's what I refer to as, what I'm saying, a submissive provider. They do everything else, right? But then they allow them to walk over them.